Hi everyone, this is Zahra from Contemporary Quilling, and it is Saturday movie night. Um, as you can see, it's going to be about how we're going to quill these beautiful vortexes. I saw these vortexes back a little while ago on Pinterest, and I thought, I really need to make this. It just looks super awesome. So I tried and Googled it and saw a couple of tutorials, YouTube images, but nothing was really clear. So hits and misses, and I kind of finally figured out what works, what doesn't work. So we begin with 3 mm strips, and I'm going to use just a dot of glue. Okay. And a lot of tutorials show you where people put outrageous amounts of glue. Please don't do that. The less glue there is, the more neater your work. Also, when you're joining two strips, what you could do is you could tear the edges and stick them together. They kind of give a nice continuity. And another thing that you must not do is people put glue over here and then squeeze out and clean out over here. No, please. That gives a terrible skin and a terrible afterlook. It looks like Voldemort is shedding its skin, and what some people call, like Stacy calls them, boogers. You don't want that. It's these really tiny things that make a difference to your overall work. When I'm applying glue, I also do this. I take out my glue on plastic cards. There's a gift card, and so what it basically does is it air dries this glue, and I can use this glue up to 2 hours. So when it air dries, it kind of becomes a little more tacky, and because of that, it sticks better. You use little and it sticks better. So it's neater. All right. Let's begin. So we're going to use these quilling strips just as is. If I were to roll this, otherwise to make anything else, I would be taking my needle tool or something, even my finger, and curl the paper just to give it a nice flexibility. But what I learned was that if I curl the paper, the vortex doesn't open up on its own as beautifully as it does when I don't curl it. So don't curl this paper. Simply start rolling. Your coils have to be really tight. I tried making loose coils with space in the center, but nothing works as best as a simple coil, tight coil. Oh, another thing is that if you use a lot of glue, and if that glue sticks out at the joining part, what happens is when you let this vortex loose to unroll, that sticky part is going to stick and it won't open up. So you've got to be careful about that. And there it is. Just cleaned up. Okay. Very tight coil. All right. Now what you need to do is pinch it. Pinch it hard so that there's no space left in between, and literally you're not turning this into a marquee, no two edges, but you're just simply squeezing it in the center. Okay, no rocket science to this, but you just can't let it loose. You need a circle template to put it in, so that it can unfold over there. In case you don't have this, or you know, you don't want to use this, another thing you can do is you can make your own circle templates. I did this for an experiment and I ended up using it for coils, for unrolling coils more than my experiment. What I simply did was I cut circles of different diameters, and then I just, you know, on edge put a strip around, so they made circle templates. So I'm gonna take this away. I'm gonna actually open it over here. All right, select a suitable size. I think this would do okay. I'm not gonna let it go. I'm gonna zoom it in. Let's see. Oh, okay, and let it go. Okay, you need a bigger circle. Keep moving into a bigger circle if you think there's no space. See, let it open, let it open. And the thing is, if you let it open on its own, it's going to come out even better than when you force it open. And I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where they use this needle tool to open the whole thing. I think it's just a waste of time and effort. Okay, the core doesn't open on its own. You will need to give it a little bit of a push. So mildly open sesame. Right till the edge of the strip from where you began. So you've got to keep opening it up. Okay, we're done. Yeah. See if you can see it. Oops. All right, and glue, dip this much. Hold it. Just a little bit. And in fact, if you have a lot more, just take out the excess. That's it. And then hold, and that's it. Vortex. So you can play around with different colors, different schemes. You know, the sky is the limit. So next up is cardstock. Now this is approximately, I think, something around 90 pounds, 95 pounds cardstock, which is not too heavy. But cardstocks don't make really nice vortexes. Why is that? Because they don't open up that well. They don't have that much flexibility. I have managed to make some cardstock vortexes for a project that I did when I was learning how to make them, and I made them into a cloud. But other than this, actually I haven't really even found a use for vortexes, excepting that they look really pretty. And maybe one day if I do something like a landscape, something what, you know, Janet does, which is amazing, I'll probably fill it up with vortexes. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so for cardstock, do what I told you not to do in the normal quilling strips, which is curl, because you need to give it flexibility. And that's the only way it'll open. Okay, put this in. Twist, twist, twist. There we have it. Pinch. Oh, it's really hard to pinch cardstock, like really hard. Okay, I think I'm gonna open it in this. And let me zoom in. Yeah. There we go. No, it won't be able to open it in this. All right, so when it needs space to open, when you think it's not opening because there's no space, move it to a cycle, move it to a circle that's bigger. You see, it's begun to open, but it needs a push. If you don't have a needle tool, a pin works just as fine. I mean, you could use, you know, this too, but I wouldn't advise it because if the edge goes in, it'll just destroy the strip itself. So anything sharp, just to give it a nudge. And we open it up right till the end. There you go. All right. So you see what I mean by cardstock not opening up as beautifully as the quilling strips. If I compare this to this, look at how this fans out. You know what I mean? So the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to do a really long strip. This is one color, two colors, 3, 4, 5, and these are all random colors that I could, you know, just grab. The more colors you use, the more evident the design is, but I tried to make a vortex coil out of the whole rainbow, and I used the complete entire, you know, strips, which were more than a foot long each. It took me crazy amount of time to wind those things up, and it didn't come out good. Mainly because the coil was too big, and when I tried to squeeze it, it wouldn't. Then I squeezed it with a plier. It did squeeze, but when it opened up, it didn't open up well. It was just way too big. So I believe that the more big the coil is in vortexes, it just doesn't come out that really well. Yeah. Pinch it. And pinch some more. Oh! Bam, 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 bam. Oh! And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up in my own circle template. Okay. Let it loose! Yeah! You see? Look at that. All right, so the core, like I said, won't open up. You will have to open it up with a needle tool. Let's do that now. What I feel, and this is just my opinion, that if you use a darker strip at the end and a lighter one, or you move down the gradient, these vortex coils really look pretty cool. You can use different shades and just move up to the darker one, lighter one in the center, or you can use complementary colors to set them apart, or multiple things like let's see, something like, whoop, see. This is red on the outside, purple, and then yellowish orange. This is a yellow in the center and blue outside. Yeah. Okay. So what am I going to do is really carefully take it out. You know, once it opens up like that, you don't have to be too careful about it that it's gonna, you know, really open up badly unless you completely let it go. But if this becomes loose, you can always tighten it up a bit, but you've got to keep a hold on the center. All right. Tiny bit of glue. And hold. And that's it. And this one, I haven't even adjusted it. I mean, I'm not even gonna touch it. Yeah. All right, so I've got one more trick up my sleeve, and that's going to be a completely new experiment. I thought about it just as I was doing this, that, you know, let's just give it a try. I've never done that before. What that's going to be is I am going to use my crimper and see if the crimper actually makes a vortex or not. I have no idea. This is like completely new territory for me. Okay, so this crimper is awesome. I know a lot of people have it. There are multiple settings. This one is the fattest crimper, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and all of these are different. You know, they crimp differently. I am going to do one with the second crimp, not the finest one, but the second finest one. Okay. All right. So, oh, I think this is gonna become a crimping video too. So you move it in, okay, and turn it around. Oopsie. And it comes out crimped. I love crimped strips. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd be crimping everything that I'd be making. I know a lot of people, you know, especially when they're making flowers, they use crimp paper, and I completely get them. I completely understand the love for crimp. Yeah. So let's do this. And this time I'm not putting too much pressure, because if I put too much pressure, the crimp is going to open. So it is going to be a tight coil, but not too much of pressure. Almost there. Okay, great. So you see, let me move this close. I mean, you can see spaces over here. It's a tight coil, but there is spaces because I didn't want to get rid of the crimp itself. All right. Squeeze. And I think a little bit of crimp just like opened up. Anyway, that's bound to happen, I think. Put it over here. It's not opening up on its own. Yeah, that's what I feared. Yeah, it's not opening up as it should, mainly because I know I didn't make enough of a tight coil. But if I did make it any tighter than I had to, you know, the point of me crimping the strip, it will just be moot. Right. So one last thing that we're going to do is we are going to use a different width. This is a 10 mm strip, and I am going to roll this with a beading tool. Why am I using this? Because, well, I don't have a slotted tool which has too much of a width capacity. I mean, this does like maximum maybe 5 mm. And if I try to put this in, let me show you. If I try to put this in, this thing sticks out, and if I roll it, the center is kind of weird. And you could use a needle tool to roll this with, but I still haven't kind of perfected, you know, doing that. So I used a beading tool. Now the problem with the beading tool is that there's a slit just on one side, okay? And if this is thick, and this comes in many thicknesses, I've got the one with size, well, yeah. So it's not zooming out. Yeah, so this has multiple thicknesses. This one is a little fatter one, and somewhere over here I have 2 more which are even more fatter. So what this does is, if the circle is big, your center is going to be big, and you don't want that. To overcome this circle issue, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this paper in and slightly take out the paper till it comes towards the edge. Slightly. And now roll. Ugh. Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Especially when you're doing the final cut. Okay, I think this is like the 10th video that I've made. I want to do as little editing as possible, and this is the first time I'm ever making such a tutorial. I mean, I've done picture tutorials or just like mini clips where I don't have to speak much. I can edit as much as I want. But yeah, I mean, bear with me. Sorry if I'm a little irritating or you know, confusing. You can always leave comments down below. Whatever questions you have, I will try to answer them. If you have any requests, please let us know at Contemporary Quilling. We have lovely moderators who are tirelessly doing a lot of work in the background, and we'll try to accommodate as much as possible. All right, so here it is. And squeeze, and here. All right. Open. And I don't try to bring my needle tool in until it's stopped, because the way that it opens is just perfect on its own. Right to the center. Ta-da! Teeny mini glue. And put it in. So a lot of people I've seen try to make this into different shapes, and I don't really care for that, because the original vortex shape in itself is so pretty. But I've seen people turn this into a marquee, into squares, into different shapes. It just loses its beauty if you change it. And I'll just show you why I mean that. Okay, so here, let's turn this into a I'm doing this really rough because one eye is looking at the camera and one eye is looking at my hand itself. So you see, it just loses. It's just a normal marquee. It just lost its beauty. All right, guys. I hope you liked this version of Saturday movie night. And if you have any questions, anything that we can answer, just please let us know. And you guys all have a really good weekend. Thank you. I'm back. I just wanted to do one more experiment before we left off. These are like the extra specials. And I quilled this in the background because it took a hell lot of time to quill. Um, I mean, it it opened up and I had to do it all over again and it was a mess. Anyways, these are a lot of coils. In fact, these are so many. They almost have a diameter of up to 30 mm. Anyhow, I'm interested in knowing if this really opens up into a vortex. I have my reservations because, it's really hard to, I'm thinking it's really hard to pinch it. So let's try it out. And if it doesn't pinch, then it won't come out in that vortex shape, right? Oh, no. I mean, it's just not pinching. It's not that hard. So, because I'm a little crazy, I'm gonna use pliers. Yeah. Some of you actually might know me as the crazy lady who, made a series of hands a little while back. So yeah, that's me. Okay. No! Okay, this is like a complete fail. All right, guys. Good night. And this time what I've been doing is I've been squeezing it as I've, been rolling this up. I love mysteries and thrillers, and I love to see them right till the end and try to figure out how it would work. And I just couldn't let this go. I mean, if I had not rewound this and done it again, I just wouldn't know how this would end, and I'd hate that. So, okay, this time I'm going to be really careful. I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to squeeze. Oh! Put it down. Okay. Open again, but I've controlled it. It rolled out, but I'm gonna put it in here and let it roll out. Roll out, roll out, roll out, roll out. And I was right. It's just, it won't flatten enough to make those edges, and that's why those edges don't appear at all. So this is not loose anymore. I kind of rewound it a little bit. Just, pulled on this and made it a little tight. And this is a little loose. I was just wondering, if I pinch a little looser, it should make those edges and it should come out as a vortex. I mean, it has to. Come on. So let me see if this works. but this is gonna be a little big. Oh. Seriously, this is not funny.